principles that he stood for as well. I was on the way in here this morning, and I wasn't texting while I was driving, but I was thinking about his last words. And when Riel said, "I have nothing to give but my heart, and I have given that long ago to my country," I think that exemplifies everything there is about him, about how he was always thinking about others instead of himself, and that's why his life was less important than serving his people and his nation. My name is Will Goodon. I'll be your MC here today. This is the 139th anniversary of the Louis Riel Commemoration Ceremony. And as we always do, I would like to ask our elder to come forward for a prayer. If we could have Elder Linda St. Cyr Sarek come forward. She's from the Winnipeg region, and she's a member of the Seven Oaks Métis Council. And if you are able to, please stand.
Merci, Will. Je suis contente d'être ici pour offrir la prière matin. I acknowledge that we're on Treaty 1 territory and the national homeland of the Red River Métis. God, our Creator, praise and glory to you today and forever. Thank you for giving us another beautiful day. We humbly stand before you to say thank you for your mercy and grace. We acknowledge your presence here and thank you for loving us, for being with us and guiding us every day. Lord, we commit this event to your loving care. We are gathered here today at the resting place of a great man, the father of Manitoba and our leader, Louis Riel. It's difficult to imagine what would have become of our people had it not been for the courage, the wisdom, and strength you provided for Louis Riel. We thank you for his life, Lord, and for sending this man to pave the way for us all. Thank you for giving us leaders who continue to fight for our rights. We ask you, Lord, to give them the same courage, determination, and the spirit that you gave Louis Riel. And Lord, I ask you to please bless this time as we remember and celebrate our great leader, Louis Riel. In your name we pray. Amen.
Thank you, Linda, so much for that. It's always, you can sit down for those who have chairs, but it's always such an important thing for us to do, to remember why we're doing these things and to set the stage for this important event we're doing here today. So thank you so much. We're going to be asking some dignitaries today to come forward and provide some remarks on this day. As we know, on November 16th, 1885, our leader, our president, the first premier of Manitoba, was murdered by the country of Canada, and but his memory has persevered, is even growing stronger. And it's such a good thing that folks who represent Canada, Manitoba, and others to come forward and pay those respects. I think it shows a 180-degree turnaround from where we were 139 years ago today. First up, I would like to, and our dignitaries will be laying wreaths and then providing remarks. First up, I would like to ask Dan Vandel, Member of Parliament and Cabinet Minister, to come forward to provide some remarks. After Minister Vandel, and Member of Parliament Terry Duguid will also bring remarks.
Thank you so much, Will. It's good to see you. It's good to see you not on Facebook, in person. Bienvenue tout le monde. I want to first of all begin by thanking the elder for her words of prayer and inspiration to start us off in a positive way. Bienvenue à Saint-Boniface, qui est le lieu natal de Louis Riel et le lieu de repos de Louis Riel. I want to welcome everybody here to St. Boniface, the birthplace of Louis Riel and the resting place of Louis Riel. It's very important to be here to commemorate his execution 139 years ago. Riel, we know, was a leader of the Métis Nation, was a powerful political, spiritual, cultural leader. Mais Louis Riel était aussi le père du Manitoba. He was also the father of Manitoba, and I want to acknowledge the fantastic work that was done by the Manitoba Métis Federation, and I want to acknowledge the leadership of the province of Manitoba to recognize Louis Riel as the first Premier of Manitoba this year. That recognition is significant, and that recognition is extremely profound. I know when they executed Riel 139 years ago, they thought they were ridding themselves of a problem. They didn't realize that 139 years later, we would have all of us here today commemorating his death. They didn't realize the Manitoba Métis Federation would be taking up the charge as they have so significantly over the decades. They didn't realize that there would be a school division, Louis Riel School Division, named after Riel. They didn't realize that there was a school just down here where I actually went to high school, Louis Riel School, and others in this group of people maybe went as well. The Louis Riel Capital Corporation, Place Louis Riel, Esplanade Riel, just right behind me. Louis Riel Trail in Saskatchewan. The impact that Riel has had on this country is profound. Et même aujourd'hui, dans les chambres de communes, on sait que le Bloc québécois souvent mentionne Louis Riel, puis on a un ancien député du Bloc québécois qui est ici ce matin. We have a former Bloc québécois member who's here to pay her respects at this commemoration. And Riel is often mentioned in the House of Commons by the Bloc québécois. MPs from Quebec, obviously, who understand the profoundness of what Riel symbolized and what he did. Et c'est grâce à Riel aujourd'hui qu'on peut vivre, parler et être éduqué en français, on peut être fier et francophone. So the story is not over. The Métis story is not over. I can assure you that at the highest ranks of the federal government, and Terry can attest to this, many people are talking about the Métis Nation. Many people are talking about the origin story of the Métis Nation. And that's something that makes us all proud. That's something that is incredibly important. And that's something that is good for not only Manitoba Métis, but all Manitobans and all Canadians. Je suis très fier d'être ici, very happy to be here. Thank you, everybody.
Thanks, Dan. And I think he's hinting that maybe he wants to be on my Facebook post later. I'm proud to bring up our next speaker, a very good friend, someone who has walked the walk of reconciliation with the historic Métis Nation and has been there for many, many, many years. Please help me welcome Member of Parliament, Terry Duguid.
Well, thank you, Will. Good afternoon, everyone. And indeed, it's an honor to be a friend of the Métis Nation and a friend of yours. We've worked together over the years and done some really good work together. And of course, it's a privilege to honor the life and the legacy of Louis Riel with all of you today. And it's great to be a friend of Dan Vandel, a very proud Métis, and no one has fought harder for the MMF and for the Métis Nation than one Dan Vandel. Let's hear it for Dan. Well, maybe David Chartrand has fought harder than you, but you're right up there, Dan. So, As I've said many times, I'm very, very proud to represent many Métis citizens in the federal riding of Winnipeg South. And Dan Vandel and I share something in common. We both represent parts of Provencher riding, which Louis Riel represented. He was elected 3 times, as you know, but was not able to take his seat in the House of Commons. President Chartrand, I remember that day when they brought out the parchment with Louis Riel's signature on it. He snuck into the House and signed the roll to assert his presence and indeed the presence of the Métis Nation. But today, Winnipeg South, and very much like Dan's riding, people have come from around the world to build a life for themselves and their families. In my district, over 100 languages are spoken. French and English are common languages. There, 8% of the population is Indigenous. Most of those are Métis citizens. And for the most part, people live together side by side in harmony, in peace, much like Louis Riel envisaged. And reminders of Métis history and the legacy of Louis Riel are everywhere in Dan and my ridings. Riel House, La Barrière Park, Historic St. Norbert, as Dan mentioned, the Louis Riel School Division, Riel Library, you name it. Riel's name is everywhere and is celebrated. We have a Louis Riel Day, as all of you know, which we look forward to. But there are new landmarks in this beautiful province of ours. And President Chartrand, I remember after Murray Sinclair's funeral, walking down Portage Avenue and seeing the Métis flag, Métis symbols. Further down the street, dotting the skyline, MMF on a number of buildings. So those new landmarks are celebrating your community and celebrating Métis culture and your important role in building community alongside us, with us. And just a few days ago, President Chartrand, MLAs Billy Cross, Mike Moyes, and myself participated in a time capsule ceremony at Dakota Community Center to commemorate Winnipeg's 150th anniversary. And in that time capsule will be placed a copy of the Louis Riel Act, which commemorates and celebrates and honors Louis Riel as being the first premier of Manitoba. And when that capsule is opened, in 150 years, Manitobans will be reminded of the foundational role that Louis Riel played in the establishment of Manitoba and the growth of Confederation over 150 years ago. And recorded in that history, and Dan was alluding to this, will be a treaty that Canada has signed with the Red River Métis Nation, recognizing after a very, very long struggle in your nation's history, a recognition of Métis rights and the obligation of the Crown to withhold those rights. It will also record the incredible leadership of President Chartrand, his amazing cabinet, and all of you in seeing that to fruition. And hopefully next year we can celebrate that achievement as we come back on this special day. So God bless you all. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Terry. Before I introduce our next 2 speakers, I was just reflecting a little bit on Riel's legacy, and we have heard the important step of the recognition that the province of Manitoba has done. It was their very first act as they formed government to recognize Louis Riel Jr. As the first premier of Manitoba, something our president has been working on for such a long time. But of course we know that he was also presidents of the Assiniboia Council, the provisional government that came before. And of course, you know, when they first started looking at whether they're going to join Canada or not, there was the National Committee of the Red River Métis. And that was, you know, formed right near the beginning when these talks were starting to happen, when John A. Macdonald bought the land that we're standing on here today. So the, you know, those instances of assertion of our own nation and governance, I think are very important to recognize. And with that being said, I'm very proud to be welcoming up Minister Renee Cable, and of course our MLA from St. Boniface, Robert Loisel. They are going to lay wreaths, and they're both going to bring remarks and greetings.
Good morning, everyone. When I say it's a privilege to be here, I can't actually express how much of a privilege it is. And moments like this, where we honor our historical roots, the challenges that collectively our nation has overcome, I'm reminded how tremendously monumental it is that I am here not only with Robert Loisel, who is a Métis member of the Legislative Assembly, but also Tyler Blaschko, who is another Métis member of the Legislative Assembly. Our good friend Billy Cross was unable to attend today. But this, I can think of no better way to honor Louis Riel than to occupy this space, and for all of us collectively to occupy this space here today. So it is my pleasure to bring greetings on behalf of Premier Awab Kanu and the Manitoba government to pay tribute to our dear father and the founder of Manitoba, Louis Riel. I would like to begin by thanking the Elder for the beautiful opening. Thank you for starting us off in a good way. And to acknowledge my federal colleagues, my colleague from the legislature, city councillor, all of the MMF government and cabinet, and the many dignitaries, but most of all community who are here to gather and share in this tremendous event. We know that Louis Riel was a leader that deeply shaped Manitoba and Canada, and to be here on this land, in this space, with all of you is a great testament to that. Riel's vision included a strong commitment to protecting the language and culture and land rights of Métis and Indigenous people all across the land. His efforts and the efforts of his provisional government led directly to the creation of our province. And this day, the anniversary of his execution by the Canadian government, when he was just 41 years old, is a day that we gather in solemn commemoration. But today is also a celebration of resiliency and survival of the Métis people and culture. Métis are entrepreneurs, educators, artists, leaders in many fields who contribute to the diversity and prosperity of Manitoba and beyond.
Merci, Minister Cable, President Chartrand. C'est en reconnaissance de Louis Riel, le premier premier ministre du Manitoba, que notre gouvernement a adapté la loi Riel non moins de 2 mois après avoir été élu. Cette loi contribuera à un avenir où tous les Manitobains connaîtront l'histoire de l'Uriel et celle de l'esprit durable des Métis de la Rivière-Rouge. L'Uriel a imaginé une nation fondée sur l'égalité et l'équité, où les droits des Autochtones sont respectés. Inspirons-nous de son courage pour défendre nos acquis et travailler ensemble vers un avenir meilleur. En honneur de l'héritage de l'Uriel, prenons aussi le temps de réfléchir comment nous pouvons, en tant qu'individus, en tant que gouvernement et en tant que société, contribuer à l'avancement de la vérité et de la réconciliation. Puissons-nous tous nous efforcer d'atteindre l'harmonie et le respect que Louis Riel envisageait pour son peuple et pour cette terre. Longue vie à la mémoire de Louis Riel, longue vie aux Métis de la Rivière-Rouge. Long live the memory of Louis Riel, and long live the Red River Métis.
Thank you both very, very much for those very excellent words and for being here representing not only the Premier but the province of Manitoba. And of course, my apologies to Tyler. I did this to him a couple of weeks ago where I missed him in the crowd, and I did it again, and I feel terrible. So thanks for coming, Tyler. We have church bells for Tyler. Thanks, Robert, for saving me here. Yes. We'll wait just a moment. I'm not sure how much longer they're going. I'm not sure if that's for lunch or... But it's also a pleasure and an honor to invite the MLA of Selkirk, Richard Pershot. Unfortunately, the official opposition leader could not be here today, but we absolutely want to provide a big Red River Métis welcome to MLA Richard Pershot.
And the bells continue.
Keep ringing,
I am honored to be here to bring greetings on behalf of the Leader of the Official Opposition and the Leader of the PC Party, Wayne Owaska, the MLA for Lac du Bonnet. My name is Richard Pershot, and I'm the MLA for Selkirk. I want to acknowledge President Chartrand and the national government of the Red River Métis, along with all the other dignitaries that are here today for this important annual commemoration of Louis Riel. It is with solemn reflection that we remember the contributions of Louis Riel to the formation of our province. As leader of the Red River Métis, the first provisional government, and the first premier of Manitoba, Louis Riel showed great leadership in negotiating the rights of the Red River Métis and forming the first provisional government in Manitoba, and as the creation of the province through the Manitoba Act of 1870. There is no doubt Louis Riel is the father of Manitoba, entering into Confederation in 1870, and his influence gave the name and the foundation to our province. We can see the efforts of Riel to be inclusive in making the formation of the province all about the residents of the territory. At the time, he invited the English-speaking parishes in the province to elect 12 representatives to the initial convention with the Métis parish representatives. He insisted that annexation of the territory to Canada be done through negotiation, not only with the Métis, but with all the population in general, standing up for the rights of all members of the Red River settlement at the time. He insisted on denominational schools and the right for both French and English to be respected, and for all the laws to be published in both languages. Both could be used in legislature and in the courts. Riel was an educated young man. He saw the importance of respecting language, culture, and traditions of all the residents of the Red River settlement. That was to become Manitoba, whether they be French or English speaking, Métis, or part of the Scottish and English parishes, and the Indigenous communities that would be integral to the success of our province. It is important we remember Riel for these foundational contributions to our province that made our province very unique within Canada and has led to our province's greatest strengths, which is the diversity of our community and how we are able to work together to build a province. We are here commemorating Riel on the anniversary, what was tragically a miscarriage of justice. The story could have ended there, but the unique culture of the Red River Métis that Riel sought to preserve is alive and flourishing in Manitoba. We have Lure Riel to thank for how Manitoba came into Confederation with all the protections for the culture and the Red River Métis ingrained in the Manitoba Act of 1870. Today, it's the leadership and direction of the national government of the Red River Métis that continues the important work that was started so many years ago by Lure Riel. We can see the strength of the Métis culture and contributions to our province by many prominent Métis citizens around us. Today, I give praise and great respect to President Chartrand and his government for standing up for Métis citizens in Manitoba. Again, I'd like to thank the Manitoba Métis Federation for the invitation to bring greetings and for organizing this commemoration and all the work that you do in promoting Métis culture through your national government. Thank you. Great respect.
Thank you very much, Richard. Very, very good words and are much appreciated. Before I introduce our next speaker, I just wanted to recognize our veteran and elder here today, Joseph Crushane, who has also have the Eagle staff here amongst the flags. Whoever that was, he's late for the ceremony. The mayor of the city of Winnipeg is also proven to be a very good friend and ally, and unfortunately he can't be here today, but we are very honored to have Councillor Matt Allard to bring greetings on behalf of the city. This is his third term at City Hall, and he's very well respected both in the city and of course he represents this ward as well. So please help me welcome Councillor Allard. I was going to talk about the mayor next time.
Thank you, Jeff, and good morning, everyone. This is the first time I have the honor to speak at this ceremony. Thank you very much. So, members of government, President Chartrand, and everyone attending today, welcome. And so I'd like to, I know we had a blessing earlier today, but it's customary at the City of Winnipeg to start with a land acknowledgement, so I'll read the one that we read at the City of Winnipeg, and I'll read it in both official languages. And so I would like to acknowledge that we are in Treaty 1 territory, the home and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Innu, Cree, and Dakota peoples, and the national homeland of the Red River Métis. Our drinking water comes from Shoal Lake 40 First Nation in Treaty 3 territory. Et en français, et je dois cette dette à Riel, étant donné sa vision et la reconnaissance que son gouvernement provisoire a donnée à la langue française, qui a été entérinée, qui a fait de Winnipeg, qui a fait du Manitoba une province bilingue. Et c'est la raison pour laquelle je vous adresse en français aujourd'hui, parce que je crois que je n'aurais pas eu l'opportunité autrement. So in French, the treaty acknowledgement, which I read at City Hall, is the equivalent. Alors, Winnipeg est situé sur le territoire visé par le traité numéro 1, le berceau, le territoire traditionnel des peuples Anishinaabe, Ojibwe, Ininu, Cri et Dakota, et sur les terres ancestrales nationales des Métis de la Rivière-Rouge. Notre eau potable provient de la Première Nation Shoal Lake, numéro 40, qui est située sur le traité numéro 3. Alors, I said earlier that I owe a debt to Riel for being able to speak one of the official languages in Canada. As some of you know, in 1890, the province of Manitoba made it illegal to teach French in schools. And the reason that decision was overturned is because at one point someone realized the Manitoba Constitution made Manitoba a bilingual province, and it was because of Riel's vision that I am speaking French here today. So we gather today to honor the legacy of Riel, a foundational figure in the history of Manitoba. Riel, we know, was a man of tremendous conviction, led the Red River Métis people in their struggle for self-determination. As the founder of the provincial government that came to be known as Manitoba, he sought to secure a future where his people could thrive and their rights would be respected. I was present here earlier this year when Premier Wab Kinew and MMF President Chartrand recognized Riel as the first Premier of Manitoba. Congratulations to the government of Manitoba for getting that done, and getting it done as the first order of business, which was the promise of the Manitoba Premier. And I think President Chartrand acknowledged that and let the Premier know he would have let him hear about it had he not done that. So congratulations to the province for delivering on that. So recently I read, I think, one of the most comprehensive and recent works that details the history of the Métis people. I read The Northwest is Our Mother by Jean Taillet. And as a lifelong resident of Manitoba, we talk about truth and reconciliation. Jean Taillet's book is the truth that everyone needs to know. President Chartrand, I'll have to run that by you later on to see if that's an entirely correct statement. But what I want to say about that is that as a student of politics and public administration, Taillet's book stunned me in terms of the blatant injustices, violence, and unlawful appropriation of land of the Red River Métis. So I was a councillor in 2017 when we unanimously passed the Indigenous Accord under the leadership of Métis leader, former Mayor Brian Bowman. With hundreds of signatories and individuals and groups, the Indigenous Accord has been a driving force in advancing reconciliation with Indigenous peoples. Last council, City Hall paid homage to the Honorable Murray Sinclair, who I had the honor to meet, whose recent passing has left a void in our hearts and communities. His tireless dedication to truth and reconciliation has left an indelible mark on our province. His legacy will continue to inspire us as we strive for a more just and equitable society. Finally, I'd like to acknowledge the presence of David Chartrand, which I've done several times already, but why not do it again? President of the Red River Métis Nation. I had the opportunity to break ground on a housing project in St. Boniface, and I hope to do that many more times to come. And Mr. Chartrand and I have been talking about housing in St. Boniface, and I do have the phone number of the City of Winnipeg contact for the Housing Accelerator Fund, because I know you're going to ask about that housing in St. Boniface. So I'll get that. I'll get that to someone later. And so finally, let us move forward together, and guided by the principles of truth, justice, and reconciliation, to build a brighter future for all. So thanks to all for your attention today.
Thank you, Matt, very, very much. And thank you for all the work that you have been doing. And I'm the Minister of Housing, so you can talk to me after as well. Before I introduce our next speaker, who's going to be speaking on behalf of the Manitoba Métis Federation Winnipeg Region, I just wanted to recognize some of our MMF cabinet who is here today, and of course Vice President Denise Thomas, who is here. She's been serving for a very long time and continues to be the voice to make sure that we are on a right path, and she's helped me many times and corrected me in a couple. And of course Minister Mona Bjors, who's here as well from the Interlake region. She's from the historic community of Saint Laurent, and definitely want to say thank you for being here. We have Minister Campbell, but I'm going to introduce her because she's going to speak later. And am I missing anyone from Cabinet? I don't think so. Anyways, it is an honor to welcome my friend, my colleague, the Minister of Environment, and she's here to speak on behalf of the Winnipeg region. Unfortunately, Vice President Carrier is not here, but I think we actually are doing okay, and even better by having Minister Remillard to come and bring some greetings. Please help me welcome Minister Joanne Remillard.
Good morning, everyone. And thank you. Nice to see our guests, our distinguished guests that are here. Those that are in the audience, thank you for coming today to honor one of our great leaders, and President Chartrand, and our cabinet that's here. And thank you, Minister Goodon, for the introduction. Thank you. So, I did have lots written out, and the previous speakers had said everything that I wanted to say. So I don't want to repeat too much. So I would like to thank our elder, Linda Sincere Sarek, for the wonderful prayer this morning. And I'm speaking on behalf of Vice President Andrew Carrier, and also representing the Winnipeg region. We've all gathered here today to remember and honor our hero, Louis Riel, who is not only the father of Confederation, but the founder and the first premier of Manitoba. Riel's presence is felt every day, everywhere. There are many locations in Winnipeg that remind us of Louis Riel and what he fought for the Red River Métis. We have the Riel House in St. Vital. We have the Riel statue holding the Manitoba Act in his hand. Look, this is just to name a few, as well as the L'Esplanade Riel. So we have that as well. I just want to say that Louis Riel was, and still, a hero who gave his life for the rights of the...
Thank you, Minister Remillard. And we are getting a little bit of rain here, but I want to remind everybody that we're here to honor a man who gave his life for us to be able to stand here today. And a little bit wet, I think we can do that for him. The next speaker is probably needs no introduction. The spokesperson for the Infinity Women's Secretariat and minister in our cabinet, Anita Campbell. She's been advocating her entire life for all of the things that Louis Riel stood for. Please help me welcome Minister Anita Campbell.
Good morning. I was going to say that Minister Goodon doesn't worry about the rain. I wonder why. I'm going to keep it short. I know rain, you know, I often say that rain, and I don't know who said about who was it, Keanu Reeves? Look.
He's got great hair.
Yeah, he's got great hair. I want to acknowledge, of course, Linda. I'm so happy that you're under an umbrella. For the prayer, for the great words about a great man. And I wanted to also acknowledge all our special guests, everyone that's here, our citizens that are here, of course, President Chartrand, my colleagues, everyone that's here. I always say that what's going to happen when it rains? Nothing. You're not going to melt. It'll be fine. I always say I'm made out of brown sugar. Anyway, I'll make this quick because I know President Chartrand also is going to come up. I just wanted to really remind everyone, and I always try to make a point of coming here. I got my COVID shot yesterday, and I'm not feeling 100%, but I needed to be here because I'm always trying to remind, and I know I don't have to, but I always feel like I always have to remind that there were women in our great leader's life, and the women played an important role in helping, supporting, and being there for this great man. We heard words about honor, respect, remembering, and those are the same words for me not a week ago, on the 8th, that we used those same words for our veterans. So thank you very much, all the veterans, for what you've done also. And Louis Riel, you know, I was thinking about it this morning in terms of what he's gone through with his support system that was there. And today, we still have so many members that are coming home. There are so many new Métis coming home. And I say new Métis because they're struggling with their identity. They're struggling with their culture. They want to know, they want to learn about their culture, about being Métis. And so we're finding that a lot of our members, our citizens, our family, our kin are coming home. And I think that's an important point to remember, that your Red River Métis government is welcoming all of you. And we have to also remember Louis Riel didn't just fight for himself, his family, his community, or even just the Red River Métis people. He fought for everyone, hence why it became a province. So everyone that was in this province, everyone that was attached, that's who he was fighting for their rights. So it was a matter of us to remember that Louis Riel is a great man, was a great man, will always be a great man, and something for us to remember, that he came from a community that was a matriarchal community. And we're still like that today. There are strong women in every family. There are strong leaders in every community. And I just wanted to make sure that you remember that Louis Riel, for everything that he's done, that we're still doing that today. And I really want to acknowledge our president. And I was wondering when Terry was going to make the comment about all the work that President Chartrand has always done, and he did make that relation there in terms of all the work that even our president has done throughout the years, the decades, not just years, but the decades. So I just wanted to really thank you for giving me the opportunity to be here today. I know it's raining. I love fall, so I'm okay with this. For being here and bringing these comments and bringing these remarks. It's a great day. No matter if it's raining, it's a great day. We don't have that white stuff. So it's a great day. I really want to thank you. Remember, you know, I used these 3 words when I did the remarks for November 8th. I said it, respect, remember, and it was respect, resilience, and remember. I think it's going to stop raining, President Charger, on Sunday when he comes up and speak. Those are the 3 words that you should also remember when you think about Louis Riel and the Red River Métis Nation. So on behalf of Infinity Women's Secretariat, thank you for allowing me to come here and bring some remarks. Thank you. My paper's all wet. Thank you so much. Thank you, Will.
Yes, that's true. I don't worry about my hair when the rain comes out. Before I introduce our last speaker, I just wanted to give a shout out to a friend of mine, someone who's spent his entire life working on behalf of all Métis, historic nation, the Red River Métis, and that's past national president Clem Sarche. I want everyone to give him a very nice recognition. We are where we are today because of the work that he did for so many years, and I want to say thank you. Our next speaker is President David Chartrand, and you know, there's been lots of people who have introduced him in the past and used lots of very, what was that word that Mark used in the past? Loquacious words, but you know, the footsteps that Riel laid down when he stood on the chain, when he stood up, when he spoke, when he gave his life. You know, we are definitely seeing a continuation of that in our leader, who has taken us to places that nobody would have dreamed of, and we want to owe him a great debt, as we owe a great debt to President Riel. Please help me welcome President David Chartrand.
Thank you. Thank you, Will. Thank you for his kind words. And again, Linda, thank you for a prayer. It's great to see dignitaries out here and hovering up under the umbrellas. It'll stop raining shortly. But it's great to be here. It truly is. And it's good to see the women all dressed up so beautiful. And some of the guys that are hiding their beautiful vest now underneath his jacket. But it's good to see the Métisism being displayed here. You know, I think it's such a powerful statement to make to this great leader that lays behind me, and what he accomplished and what he did. But it's also important to recognize what my mom has taught me. You always seek the good, no matter what. You always find it if you try. To find the bad, you can find it so quickly. I'm sure Armin can attest that wherever carts traveled the prairies, rain, snow, or shine, didn't matter. They still made their way through in their journey. And I think it's important to recognize that being here, what's the good about it right now? Well, first, they honor a great man, but there's no snow. It's not minus 40, it's not minus 30, you know? So you look for the positive. And no mosquitoes, as Robert was saying. One of the things I do recognize is I don't see no leaders of the parties, which I'm okay with. It's their loss. It's a good time here. But we have leaders that are here on behalf of their parties anyway. And the statements on behalf from, right now we're live streaming. We're live on Métis Hour. We have about 50,000 listeners on Métis Hour. And so a lot of people are listening to this message. And I think it's important to recognize what this is all about. And I thank everybody for the great memories and statements and recognition of Riel and truly what he accomplished. But we never forget how long it took us to get here, and that we're not finished this journey. We could name bridges, we could name buildings, we could name holidays, all these things, but there's unfinished business yet in this country we got to accomplish. One of them is the actual land we're sitting on. You know, this was Métis land. We owned it, we bled for it, we fought for it, and we definitely protected it. That is unfinished business that yet has to be accomplished. The Prime Minister of Canada promised he'd settle it this term. Well, this term is coming quick, and I'm hoping that he's going to keep his word, because I would be somewhat surprised if he decided to change his mind and break his promise. And I'm sure it'd be felt by so many as a hurtful environment to our people that we'd be forgotten. And I know Danny's time is short as a minister. I don't know when he's going to be transferred out or maybe thrown out or whatever's coming with it. Maybe you'll have a few times to say a few words more in Parliament about settling this land claim that actually was part of the deal. We protected the French language. It's good to see Millet here. She had a good meeting with our leader, Yvon-François Blanchette, and we definitely talked about Quebec and its affiliation to the Métis in the prairies and our protection of languages, in particular French language. And one of the things that we're still inspiring to also do, unfinished business, is to thank the Quebecers that gathered in great numbers to protest the murder of Riel. And let's not fool ourselves, it was murder. It was a planned execution by this country. And the documents and evidence is there. If this thing was ever adjudicated in a court today, some people would be found guilty of murder. Clearly they executed and murdered a man because they thought they'd silenced the Métis. The prairie toughness of the prairies was us, but they also silenced the West. That did not happen. In fact, the West is strong again today. However, what's important to recognize is what was done on that process. By murdering Riel, they thought the voice and the noise would end in the West. And it did. They almost got successful. And let's not forget, we disappeared in history after Batoche for about 50 years. Nobody talks about us. Nobody speaks of us. No education institution talks of us. We just disappear. The goal was to eliminate, assimilate us, that we would disappear in history as a people. Today, as I said, that's why I acknowledge the women, the beautiful women that are here with their sashes, the men proudly wearing their sashes, in any matters that attain respect to our people and pride. As Indigenous people, we knew each other by our beadwork. Each of us would know by nation who we were. And it was important to recognize that. Today, people are trying to steal who we are in the East. They're trying to come and take who we are. And that's why when I met with the leader of the bloc was to talk about how do we show our appreciation to Quebec. 6,000 people gathered before the execution of Riel, protesting the murder that was about to take place. And the government still would not listen. After they murdered Riel, 50,000 Quebecers got together to protest the execution and murder of Riel. Our people owe a great deal of respect and appreciation to Quebec. And that's something we will keep because we are loyalists as Métis. We never forget our debt or our relationship or our kinship or our friendships. That's who we are. So my goal right now is to build a statue of Riel in the park, Montreal Park, where the protesters gathered. I've met and spoke, in fact, with the Premier of Quebec. I spoke with François Blanchette, and he's definitely willing to support us. And hopefully there'll be others that will support us. And we'll make it very clear, we're not asking a dime from anybody. We will pay for it ourselves. Our Métis government has been able to economically gain strength and power, and this is just the beginning. Riel must be so proud of us of today, because as pointed out by Terry, you see our MMF in the skyline now, and probably you can see our building here if you look. Your building at your home, by the way, and many more around there. But there'll be many more to come. This is the transition of the change of the Métis people. But history has also taught us we were friends at one time. One arrow was buried right here. And I'm very honored that their people came and got him and took him back to his own reserve, his own land. But they were friends, the First Nation and the Métis. And let's not forget, the first treaty promised in this country was 1870 to the Métis. And who, if you'll go down to my office, you look at the Bill of Rights, one of the things that Riel pushed is that treaties be settled for the First Nations of Western Canada. And Treaty 1 comes right after that in 1871, and on and on and on. It was Riel who also fought for that because he was befriended and friends with his relatives, the First Nation. History has taught us that we were friends at one time. Future is telling us a different story. Right now, there's a potential court case coming up where they're claiming we have no right to this land. I know you read the recognition of Treaty 1 and all the rest of them, but the Dakota Sioux now are saying this is their exclusive land, that we have no right to it. That battle will take place in the courts, and I assure you we'll defend it vigorously, and we will fight to ensure that that is never taken from us, because it was us. And I said we bled for it, and we paid the price for it, and we still pay the price today for it. So it's very clear. Times sometimes change, future sometimes tells a different story. But the past can never change. It can never. So that past, that history will always be there to guide us and tell us what our future looks like. And we will continue to listen for our elders of how we move forward. But we need to know this. United we stand, divided we fall. That's somebody else's quote, not mine. But the meaning of it is so powerful, very powerful. That's what's kept our nation so strong. We've been unified. We've let no one come between us. No other political party has been able to divide us. They've tried, trust me, they've tried. And no party has been able to divide the strength of the Red River Métis. And if we maintain that for the next generation, it'll be a different place for them, a better place for them, a new place for them, where they will not worry whether they'll become doctors. So we have a doctor here, a good friend of mine, Métis doctor, whether they become lawyers, judges, business people, on and on and on and on. You know, Will just talked about housing by Hillard, Councillor Hillard, about business here, and Riel's a businessman. Trust me, you can bring business here anytime you want in front of Riel. He's a businessman. He always thought about doing things in the context of his people. But when you look at giving the Métis that relationship and partnership, look what we can do with magic. You know, we took $16 million. $16 million. And I have not seen nobody in this country achieve this. $16 million. Today, 1,169 families bought their homes and homed their houses in this province. Isn't that remarkable? $16 million. The country couldn't do it. Canada had a program, they had to cancel it. Others have been trying to mimic our program in the West and been trying to talk about how did you do it. Well, we did it because this is who we are. Riel has taught us to be business and leaders and always thinking about the future. And this is what this man drives us every time to think about. That's why I've come here for decades and decades and decades. Whether it's cold outside, whether, very rare does it rain, but now it rains. So, but it's clear, and Louis, you're not listening to me, I told you to stop raining when I speak here. Actually, for most of you, you probably know me by now. I do pray every night. I pray to Riel every night. I talk to my mom and I pray to her. I always ask Lou Riel to give me guidance. Give me the orator skills to speak. You use the other language there, what do you call it again, you said? Loquacious, you know, all that garbage. But anyways, I always ask him to give me the words that I need to say to the people so they can understand what we're doing and trying to do and how we need to go together. Every night I pray to him. I ask him. I just pray before I come and speak. I said, guide me with the words I need to say to the people, and let them understand how important this day is. It's only once a year we ask to gather here November 16, once a year. So that's why I get a little peeved a little bit when I don't see others show up that should be here honoring the founder of Manitoba. But what I bought here, and I'll close off with this. So rain is lighting up, you're listening, huh? So anyways, what I bought here was one thing for sure that was important to us. 32 years we fought in the court for our land claim, and we won. I was so honored, along with my cabinet, to come here and bring it in front of him and lay it down in front of his grave and say, I hope you're proud of us. I hope you're proud that we never gave up on the land that was promised to our people, that was stolen from us, and here we are. Here's the land victory we bought from the highest court of this land. We also then bought the self-government agreement because we had self-government. Understand that always, before Canada became Canada, we governed ourselves. We had our own rules and laws, or even our own currency. When you stop and think about all these things, how important it was for Riel. And they stole that from him. So I was proud to bring here the self-government agreement I signed with Canada in 2021. You heard Terry, I didn't know he was allowed to speak on this, but now I can speak on it, on the treaty, because it was not supposed to be spoken about. Since somebody else brought it up, you give me an opportunity to speak on it. As you know, we've been negotiating a treaty with Canada for some time. It's many, many years. And the treaty was promised to us by John A. Macdonald. In order for him to get the land that he was after, the West, he needed to please Queen Victoria. And in doing so, he promised that he would settle with the half-breeds. That was the message that they gave from Britain. Deal with the uprising we hear in the prairies. And the response he gave in order to finish off his purchase of 300,000 pounds and also a military to come fight us if necessary for peace, they said, but it wasn't peace, it was actually war. He said, we are treating with the half-breeds. We're saying a treaty with the half-breeds. That treaty was part of Manitobac and part of the now negotiations supposed to happen with our people. Instead, they sent the military to kill us and chase us off our land. So you look at that history, that treaty. That's something we've been working on for decades upon decades upon decades. And I wasn't supposed to say nothing till next week, I think. So next week, there's Danny Vandell. As your MP brought it up, not I. But next week, I hope it's next week, we were about to finish off a deal that finally recognizing the promises made in 1870 and that a treaty will be accomplished between ourselves and the government of Canada. Sets a different pathway, a different future. And I will be honored, I tell you, I will be honored to come here and bring it in front of this great man, this great man, and bring it and lay it in front of him and say, I hope you're proud of us again. Because we're not finished yet, but I hope you're proud of us. We've got another unfinished business, another promise is broken. We've been able to fix that unbroken promise and make it real. So I'm sure he's going to be very, very proud, and I know that he'll, in his own way, give me the message of how proud he is, and ensure the glow of his pride about his people, that they're stronger than they've ever been, will continue to shine and rise with him wherever he is in heaven. So I said on reference to, I spoke to Niganan to speak to about his father. His father at one time was the vice president of the Manitoba Federation before he took his status. But he was the vice president. He was a great man, Murray Sinclair, a very smart man, a man I learned many things from by just watching and listening. But one of the things I did say, I'm sure by now, I told him, Murray's probably finding a way to find Riel. And they're probably sitting across each other talking. And I said, what I would pay for to be sitting there listening to this. But maybe I thought about, maybe I shouldn't have said that. Maybe they'll come scoop me up quicker than I should go. So maybe I retract that a little bit. I'll come later on, catch you up. But imagine that if you believe in the afterlife, that's probably happening as we speak right now in the pride and the glow of the shine that lusters over us. So again, thank you very much for coming out. Hey, not raining, what did I tell you, man? So, but again, thank you for coming out and honoring this great man, because it is absolutely true, as you referenced in your remarks, he was not only a leader for the Métis, he was a leader supporting, protecting the First Nations. He also protected the settlers that were here. He wanted to ensure that they had the right to continue to harvest. And another important part, immigration. People don't realize this. That was being debated at that time. And Riel said there's so much rich lands and opportunities here that we can see more people coming to this rich land and we could all live together and support each other. That was a vision he had. Now, south of us, they're out talking about mass deportation of immigrants. It's a shame. It's absolute shame. Some, what we could be proud of as Canadians, let's pray it never happens here. Because if there does happen here, there's going to be just First Nation and Métis here. Well, maybe it's a good thing. We'll never know. No, I'm joking. I hope it never happens here. I pray to God it never happens here, because that is the scariest thing to see people that you grew up with, knowing families and hard-working families coming to make a chance in life here, as you know, that, as I said, Riel had the vision of rich land prosperity. So I hope, and we support, and we protect that all people from different worlds and countries that come here, we stand with them, we protect them, we allow no one to try to chase them off Métis land or First Nation land. So again, congratulations for taking on the reign and staying here to honor this great man. Thank you very much again.
Thank you very much. Before we finish off here, we're going to close with a prayer. while Elder Linda is coming up here, I thought I would close my remarks with just a couple of things here. Just a reminder that we're going to be having food and music at 150 Henry immediately after this. There's going to be, I believe Morgan Grace is going to be playing the fiddle along with an accompanist. So everyone's welcome to come there. And as well, you know, I started the day off with a quote from Riel. And while the president was speaking about the ones who are pretending to be us, there's a quote that Riel said, "We must not allow ourselves to be swamped. And if it happens, it must be by no act of ours." And I think that's very appropriate, something that President Chartrand obviously has reflected upon the words of Riel and is standing up for the integrity of our people of the Red River Métis. Please help me welcome Elder Linda for a closing prayer, and stand if you're able.
Put that on there, eh? Paper's gonna be wet. Merci tout le monde. God our Creator, as this event comes to a close for another year, I want to say thank you, merci, miigwech, for giving us the opportunity to gather together to offer our respect to the Father of Confederation, founder of our beautiful province, Manitoba, and our respected leader, Louis Riel. May he rest in peace. I ask that you bless everyone who took the time to be here. Bless their families and loved ones, near and far, with peace and good health. As we go our separate ways, Lord, we ask for your protection in all we do. Thank you for sending your angels ahead to guide us safely home. In your holy name we pray. Amen. Thank you.
Excellent. Thank you all for coming, and thank you all for staying. We will see you at 150 Henry, Elsie Bear's Kitchen. It's in the basement. I'm sure there's going to be some amazing food, bannock, stew, lots of good eats. We'll see you then. Thanks very much.
Yeah, you heading over there?
Yeah.
No, I think I gotta go. I got a young family, and yeah, I've already been gone all morning. So.